our latest surrogate, President Carter, couldn't make it here himself, but at least you saw the video. I think President Obama wished he had at least the same performance as President Carter. The interesting thing about that video is how amazingly it parallels the disaster of the last 4 years. I'd like to touch on 2 points. I was rather pleasantly surprised at the honest evaluation that started this weekend when the Democrats were asked that question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Governor O'Malley said no, until he got Cory Booker back into Pinocchio land, and then changed his story to make the president a little bit happier. But the fact is he was right the first time. We are not better off. The latest trend on that, if you listen to the Democrats, is they're trying to say, well, we agree that most people in America, most of the folks in America that haven't got jobs and those that are hurt by the 8.3% unemployment and 23 million unemployed and underemployed aren't better off, and all the small businessmen that are scared to death aren't better off, but the country as a whole is better off. How can the country as a whole be better off with $16 trillion worth of debt? There is no one in the whole world that would say we are better off if we are on the verge of the same kind of fiscal disaster that the Europeans are seeing. But I'd like to touch on the second question that was asked this weekend. When the president was asked what grade he would give himself, he obviously had a quick look at his report card and saw a big I on it. He thought the I was for incomplete. The I was for incompetent. But let me grant him incomplete and talk a little about that. I used to teach at Tufts University, and every once in a while students would come in and ask for an incomplete. It was the students that failed to meet their responsibility. It was the students that failed to do what they were required to do in the position they were in. It was the students that didn't understand the challenge that they had been given. It was the students that really couldn't cut it. And you know what? Most of the students that asked for incompletes, you knew that no matter how long you gave them, if you gave them another chance, they still wouldn't be able to do it. And you know, that applies to the president. The president gave himself an incomplete because he didn't do the job. He had 2 years with a Democratic Congress, and he diddled around with Obamacare that 60% of Americans say is terrible. And in the last 2 years, what has he done? He's gone to 205 fundraisers. He's campaigned incessantly. He's played 15 rounds of golf, and he's failed once in the last 7 months with his jobs council. This is a president that really was right, in a sense, when he said he deserved an incomplete. But the fact is, not only did he not do it and deserve an incomplete, he really doesn't deserve a second term either. It's my pleasure now to introduce Congressman Tom Scott from South Carolina, who will give you, I think, the perspective of the kinds of problems we have in this region.